Some of the most lasting horror stories are born out of the nerve of the moment. If you think about the way that Dracula connects to Victorian prudishness, or the way that Frankenstein connects to the Industrial Revolution, or the way that Invasion of the Body Snatchers is so connected to the Red Scare, or the way that the Dead Zone is born out of the Cold War. With Red Moon, I was thinking about, what do we fear now? Well, I grew up on genre, and sometimes I was obsessed with books that had cowboys on the cover, sometimes with robots on the cover. For a long time, if there was a dragon or a sword on the cover, it got the thumbs up. But horror has always been my most lasting love. And it was when I was in kindergarten at Crow Elementary in Western Oregon that I pulled off the shelf of the library the Universal Studios Book of Monsters and flipped open to the page on the Wolfman, and I was just mesmerized by the sight of Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman with his shag carpeting hair and his hoggish nose and his ridiculous pompadour. And later that night, I did not sleep. I wailed for my parents. But the very next day, I went back to the library and pulled the book off the shelf again. I have, in my possession, I discovered, because I recently moved, an old paper I wrote in 6th grade. The title is Werewolves, with an exclamation mark. And there are a number of ridiculous illustrations in this so-called research paper, and it even ends with a kind of ceremony in which I attempted to make myself into a werewolf. Which is all to say that this book has been a long time coming. My hope is that I'm holding up a mirror to reality, and it's a mirror with a crack running through it, so that there's no one reflection. Some people might see parallels to the Bush administration, to Iraq, to Afghanistan. Some people might talk about Israel. Some people might talk about AIDS. Ultimately, it's about xenophobia, the other. It's about disease. It's about terrorism. And I hope that the characters become alive enough that they don't simply seem like puppets that are trying to relay some sort of editorial message, but instead transcending and creating a more universal story that everyone can relate to.